went down the rabbit hole of, if you look across the globe throughout time, there are numerous studies that show when women have power and influence, which oftentimes come with money, that the whole community does better more quickly and at a larger impact, larger scale than men alone. And again, throughout time, across the globe. And part of it comes down to how women invest.
Wanting to do something makes it a lot easier than having to do it. And that's where fun comes into business. Actually having fun with what you do, enjoying it. That's the subject of today's chapter in the business library. Me and Mike used it in a brand for 6 months or so. And as soon as Chrissy mentioned it, that's one of her big factors, I was like, we got to do a podcast about this. It can't even, there's no discussion. I even forced her to come nearly. Gunpoint and everything. So just to start us off, when you say, Chrissy, when you say fun in business, what does that mean to you, having fun in business?
It's both the internal and the external. So it's how I'm approaching my business, how I structure the business, and how my business is out in the world. So it's really as simple as it sounds. Yes, we're here to make money running for-profit businesses, but more importantly, this is a lifestyle. As crazy as entrepreneurs are, and I think we're some of the craziest people going, we chose this, right, for a lifestyle. So it's not about the shoulds and what do I need to get done. And exactly like you just said in the little intro, it's not what has to happen. It's how can I actually thoroughly enjoy and have a good time and laugh and meet really cool people and truly structure my business the way I want it to be. So from the internal perspective, it's everything from the structure to my mentality to how many calls I book in a day and the order of the calls, to the external. I'm a little bit weird. And if you go through any of my content, you realize I'm a little bit weird, right? And that's part of it. I don't want to be buttoned up and straight laced and like, we're going to only talk about P&L statements and da-da-da. Like, no, we're going to have a good time together. We're going to like laugh and enjoy the process.
I love that. But it makes it enjoyable. It actually does. Like, and there's so many tasks in business. There is not enjoyable. Like, there's a few things you just mentioned. I was like, I'm not looking forward to the next time I have to do those. Have you found a way to make those boring assignments more fun, actually, now that we're speaking about it?
Yes. And sometimes, not gonna lie, some days it's more about how to make it less obnoxious than so much as more enjoyable, because we all have those days. But I think that is really, how can you habit stack? How can you bring in something where you like, Matt, you're having tea. How can you make something that's really special that like you can eat or drink while you're doing your bookkeeping, your accounting work, or updating your privacy policy? Or also, I have dogs. My dogs are my life. So how can I take my dogs out for a walk to a new hike in the sunshine when I get done, updating the brand colors on my website, which I absolutely hate to do. But if I finish this thing, I get to take my dogs out into the woods and have them roll on things and have to deal with that mess. But like finding the balance, because again, it's not about work is over here and life is over here. But when we bring fun into all of it, the whole thing is cohesive and we're actually just like living our lives, whether that's a business task or a life task, and bringing fun across the board of finding the harmony between the things you don't want to do and how to actually enjoy the time around it.
Balance. That's a crucial thing.
Yeah, we don't have
that. Well, you made it sound very easy. I was just about to say it. I guess I don't have to ask my question now. I'll just let you go.
Yeah, what is this wizardry of balance of which you speak?
So, yes, part of it is magic, right? But also, I really have a personal issue with balance. I think with so many of us, we think that balance is is this one level, right? Where it has to go like this. But if you open it up and honestly think of harmony, and maybe this is just the way that my brain works from a visual perspective, but harmony for me is more circular, where like it can ebb a little bit this way, or it can ebb a little bit this way and here, and you have more give and take than balance. So it's semantics, but also the semantics build a lot into how we think about things as humans. The languaging we use really matters. So the first thing I would say is don't think of it as a give or a take this way, but really like how do we build a holistic harmony? And then after I get off my high horse with that one, figure out what your priorities are. Like I want to make a ton of money. Like, let's be really clear. I want to make a ton of money and a huge impact in the world. Like, we are changing the world over here. And my dogs are 10 and a half. I have a couple more years with them. So if something gets done less in business, because I can get them for a walk, I'm going to do it. That is the harmony or the balance that gives me more joy overall. Now, that's one simple example. But also when we take it into the pure business context of marketing. Marketing is one thing that I think a lot of people lose out the fun on, is I have to be on social media, or I have to do it this certain way, or I have to show up and da-da-da-da. What are your priorities? How do you shine? How do you want to connect with people? What is the impact that you want to have? What feels easy, or what feels more aligned with what you want to bring to the world? You guys are doing an awesome show. Like, you get to bring light to the world with this. This is fun for you. Or you're like super crazy and you hate it and you're just putting on good smiles. But finding the
we're
ways...
just the spastic, unemployable people that, we like finding the other oddballs in the world. Yeah, listen to Mr. Danish Viking over here.
Well, I would argue I'm more employable than you are, from the sound.
For sure. Hey, buddy, I've been unemployed with some pretty highfalutin jobs before, so I've been there, man. That's what Chrissy said. I actually had a point in this, Chrissy. Yeah, what you're saying about having fun and priorities and balance. Too many times at executive level, we're told, oh, it's got to be 110% and drive and drive all your people crazy and blah, blah, blah. And when you don't do that, you're not really welcome in that spot anymore.
You kind of went a little bit into it, like with this show, is how can you integrate? Like, how can you both do something productive? Marketing wise, it could also be sales wise. How can you actually have fun with sales? Because if you just take it as a conversation and you can have fun with the conversation, with, I would argue, some of the greatest salespeople do, that's quite fun. Just got to talk shit like we do on this podcast. Say a bunch of stuff, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It sticks, it doesn't, but you're having fun with it at the end of the day, so you're not losing out. And I like goals, like putting up those goals as well, that little carrot. Have you noticed sometimes when you, when it's not walking your dogs, but when you do put some other carrot up there, have you noticed you put the carrot up, you get finished with what you're doing, you think, oh, that was quick, let me get something more in. And then it just starts rolling. And all of a sudden the clock is, well, goddamn near midnight, actually.
Oh, 100%. Yes, 100%. And I think that can be a really good thing, actually. That sometimes the carrot, and this might sound counterintuitive, but sometimes the carrot does work in just being like, oh, I can do a little bit more and I'm feeling really good. And it gets your energy up into a space where it doesn't feel like you're slogging through and you're just doing the tasks and checking them off. That's totally fine. Go with it. Like, if you're in the zone, keep being in the zone. Obviously taking time to like eat and do the things to like take care of your physical body. But let that be the thing, because that can feel fun in the moment as well. And that can bring a lot more alignment and a lot more energy into what you're doing. And we all know that if you're in the flow and you're losing track of time and it's midnight, what you're doing is probably gold.
Yeah.
Like, actually, you are channeling some pure magic right there. Let that out and just keep going. And then if you need to take it a little bit slower the next day because you're like, I just worked for 11 hours straight, maybe I start at 9 o'clock and not 8 o'clock, that's okay too.
Yeah, it's a good trade-off if you view it in that way specifically. And talking about trade-offs, I liked how you put like the decisions up in like, okay, I have a couple of years left with my dogs. I know that it's going to impact this, but then at that point you can actually make the decision. I like to ask it in the way, which one am I going to regret the least in the future, most likely? That's how I frame it. I'll be curious as to how you actually implement and choose how you actually weigh things up.
That's a really good question. Overall, I'm an optimist. So I'm going into everything in my life as it's going to work out for me. It might not work out today, but it is going to work out for me because I'm not accepting anything less. So I go into everything that I'm doing as I'm going to get what I want. I'm going to make the impact. I'm going to have the money. I'm going to live the life. I'm going to be the role model. I'm going to talk to really cool people. And I want to enjoy the process. So how do I make today as good as it can be? What are going to be the needle moving things that I get to do today that move my business forward, that move my health forward, that move my family forward? What are those 3 to 5 things max today that either move us forward today or set the groundwork for what's going to move us forward tomorrow? And make it as enjoyable as possible. There are some things that just aren't, right? Business or life, you're just like, I got to do the thing, but I don't want to do the thing. And that's where it comes into remembering and keeping that eye on the goal of, when I do this, I then get to have the impact, make the money, make the connection, make the sale, whatever it is. So it's assuming that everything is going to work out. What actions do you get to take today? What mentality do you get to take today? And how do you enjoy all of that? Or at least make it suck a little bit less.
Yeah, I like actually sometimes things suck. Now that you mentioned it, intentionally going out and making things suck. Just for the sake of them sucking. Like if I don't want to do something, if I'm in a good state of mind, my brain goes, here's punishment for not thinking or saying you didn't want to do it, so go do it. To make the hard days a little bit easier. Because then you just get your brain kind of learns that, oh, this guy is unreasonable. He's a lunatic. I don't want to waste any more time on him. It's not worth it, really. He doesn't listen anyway. So there's definitely like power of like going out and making things suck. But I think to the point you went in a little bit to the journey as well, just making that as enjoyable as possible, because you don't want every living moment to suck. And think about, I like one example, Lord of the Rings. Most people seen those movies, like the original 3 ones. How much time did they actually spend putting the ring into the volcano and enjoying it afterwards? Not much, because Frodo damn nearly was done with his goal for like 10 days. So it was like, now I want to go. I don't want to be here anymore. I'm done. But most of the movies are focused on that one journey to that goddamn volcano. Such a big percentage of it. And if 97% of your life sucks, it's not really worth it. The goal probably better to find another goal you could get closer to without having to live a life of suffering, nearly. That's my favorite example when it comes to actually going in and appreciating the journey, because it put it into frame for me. I like those kind of ways of putting it into different shape. Is there some specific ways you find you have a lot of fun in business?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. So I'm a big fan of structure. Like, I'm a big fan of structure and having an exact knowing of what I'm doing and what needs to be done, and the trackers and the templates and the things. So for me, honestly, part of it is, how can I organize things in such a way, this sounds really nerdy, how can I organize things in such a way that I have this beautifully color-coded planner that also takes the brain space that I don't need it. Like, it takes it out of my brain, sticks it in the planner, and I don't have to worry about it because I know what needs to be done. That for me is fun, because it then opens up my mental capacity and bandwidth to actually like go in and do the things that matter and not worry about the thinking of the things. So that's one. That's really nerdy, but for some people that's going to work really well. And it's also collaborations, speaking, connecting with humans. We are all human beings, and the way that we are biologically made is we need and we crave connection. So actually go out there and build that into the business. I think especially, I started in 2020. I am a pandemic entrepreneur.
Like a lot of people.
Exactly. And for so much of that, it was isolation, and it was solopreneur, and it was a badge of honor of doing all the things yourself. Which, it's one, not a badge of honor. Like, again, crazy life, go find your people. But purposefully, intentionally creating spaces to have conversations, whether it's conversations like this, where hopefully people get some value out of it and learn something, even if it's just like, we're all crazy, or if it's a coffee chat of, let's commiserate, today really sucked. How can we make ourselves feel better? If it's a referral partnership, like whatever that is, bring the human back into business. That's one of the big things for me, where if I'm feeling extra stressed or like I'm getting caught up, because as much as I preach the fun and the things, I'm a human. Sometimes I don't have fun. Sometimes I lose my way, right? But how can we bring it back to connection? How can we bring it back to literally just like getting on a call with two basically strangers and chatting about the random shit in life? Cool beans. That's my biggest one. It's just like, have real conversations with people about all of the things under the sun. And then my third one, because I'll let you ask another question or move on, is I like to move. So I'm listening to music most of the day, unless I like have to really focus on something. So there's a lot of just like, and also I have a terrible singing voice, a lot of belting out ABBA, like Mamma Mia, anything on the Mamma Mia soundtrack. Yes.
Okay, do one for us.
No. No. Or it's literally just like getting up and dancing around my office, or like just bringing actual movement, because otherwise, like, I'm at my chair, I'm at my desk, I'm at my computer all day long. But just getting up and moving or singing or croaking out songs, like literally just, how can I add 30 seconds of being ridiculous? Like, my husband works from home. It'll literally just be, if I can tell he's not in a meeting, going in and bugging him for like 30 seconds, just like being really annoying and bugging him, and then like coming back in my office and closing the door. So like silly, stupid stuff like that of what do you need? What do you want? What's going to make today a little bit easier?
Sound like a bit of a menace.
Yes.
A little bit.
He gives as good as he gets. He also will come in and annoy me at times, so it's a good give and take.
I
Well,
guess
that's
this
fun,
is the
though.
question of the chicken and the egg, right? At
Yes.
this point, nobody knows who started it.
Oh, it's
It just keeps on
100%
going.
me.
That's good to know. That's good to know.
Yeah, same over here. It's always me. Five people in this company, and it's always me. Apparently, I'm the problem.
You are. You are.
Thank
In
you.
it.
One thing love to know the answer to is, why did you choose to niche down to only helping women? Because you could do a great job with men as well.
Well, yeah, and from where we stand, that seems like an alien species anyway. So, like, it's a genuine question. Like, we don't get it. Why focus there?
So it started back in undergrad. My undergrad degrees are finance and economics. And one of the classes I took was the macroeconomics of developing nations. And in that, we really heavily focused on the continent of Africa and the different nations in Africa. And for the first time, I'm white, cisgender, working class American, grew up in the suburbs, very homogenous, did not have a whole lot of differences in my community. For the first time, it like opened my eyes that most women are not given these opportunities. Most women are not told, go be, right? Like I was never told growing up you can be anything you want to be, because it was assumed that whatever Chrissy wanted to be, she can go do. And I realized in that class and going through those case studies and learning about the history and being given and presented facts about the way that economies grow, that that's not the case for many people. So that really started this kind of feminist focus of like, oh, I didn't know this. I need to know more about this. And went down the rabbit hole of, if you look across the globe throughout time, there are numerous studies that show when women have power and influence, which oftentimes come with money, that the whole community does better more quickly and at a larger impact, larger scale than men alone. And again, throughout time, across the globe. And part of it comes down to how women invest, what the ripple effects are, the fact that it's literally just more bodies in the economy, creating more output, creating more money. But I went down that rabbit hole of, wow, okay, I want to change the world. I want to do things differently. This is an underserved market. And that kind of laid dormant for a while. I went through and had a really successful career in hospitality where I was a benefit of being pushed up and encouraged by all genders. And I looked back and thought, wow, I'm having conversations with other women my age who are only talking about when we're having kids and only talking about like the cool things that their husbands are doing. Whereas I was sitting there firmly like, nope, not having children. None of that. And also my husband's cool, but like, I'm doing cooler stuff than he is. Love him to pieces. And also,
yeah, we got that in. But you're a dog mom though, so you are a parent.
I am a dog mom. Thank you for seeing that. But it really just, all of this kind of went in my brain of, men are great. Like I'm not a hater on men. We are all humans. All humans are awesome, cool beings, like however you identify, that's fine. And if I can target a more underserved population, that I know when that person gets money and that person gets influence, it has a larger ripple effect. Well, then just math-wise, it'd be stupid not to focus on that. And then the final piece of it is I was raised by mostly women, very loud-mouthed women who did not have an opinion or did not bother with blocking their opinion. Like, they said something, everybody heard it. And that's not how most women are.
No.
Like, don't take up space, be quiet, don't worry about it, don't cuss, don't swear. And I'm just like, why? It's a stupid rule. We're going to change that. So it was that culmination of all the things that come in and just say, can I work with men? Absolutely, 100%. Are they the most fun for me to work with?
Hey. It seems like you were laughing pretty much before.
You guys are fabulous. But that...
No, it's interesting. It's interesting you say that about the quiet, because I grew up all over the world, so I got a lot of exposure. When I got to the States at the age of 14, I was like, I don't get a lot of, like, people like you, the way you grew up, right? I couldn't relate to that because I grew up different. But like, there's opportunities everywhere, and everywhere I've been, I've seen males and females that will start things, and others won't. It's very individual dependent, and a lot of, I didn't know I was an entrepreneur at the time. I found out later, but it's like the kinds of people that say, rules, what rules, or what box are you talking about, or what is this boundary of which you speak? Those are the ones that make things happen anyway. And I really laughed a minute ago when you said about how the people you grew up with, there was more open swearing. I'm like, yeah, well, since I moved to the American South, what's really funny is the ladies here swear just as much as they do in the North. They do it very differently. And unless you're really paying attention, you don't know you've been cussed out.
I spent 4 years between South Carolina and Tennessee.
Oh, know.
It was such a culture shock. The first time I got bless your heart,
Yep.
I was like, oh,
Yep. Not what it means.
Nope.
A very polite way of cussing somebody out.
Yeah, it is very polite, yes, but that's not what it means.
Not at all. I got that one a lot.
See, I would think that. I wouldn't really think that was positive as well.
Well, because I think sometimes when ladies say it, it's almost all ladies that say it. I think some of them are genuine. They genuinely mean it. They're being nice, but others are not being nice, and you don't always know the difference.
See, that's the thing I like about Eastern European women. You know where you are on the scale. You're not confused.
Why? Because they cuss like drunken Vikings, most of them.
Yeah, they do. Exact same language. You know exactly where you are. It might turn on a dime, but you know what you are at least. I like that.
Well, the other dangerous phrase we used to hear at work a lot was "do what you want." It's like that never means do what you want ever.
No. That means the opposite. That and I'm fine. I'm running the opposite way. Like I'm hiding somewhere.
Not only are you not fine, but we are not fine.
No. I'm frantically analyzing a bunch of stuff. Chrissy, what's your husband's first name by chance?
John.
John might have a very interesting clip in his inbox from earlier. Once this goes up.
Bored about things.
Yeah, I'm messing here half a laugh about it.
He messes with everybody.
I like that. I also saw that you volunteer Save One Animal Rescue League I think is the right name. What made you start volunteering?
I am obsessed with dogs. I love animals. I think that animals are pure goodness unless then a force is acted upon them. And growing up, we had pets. We had like cage pets, hamsters, birds, lizards, that kind of thing. But no dogs. And I'd always wanted one. So when I finally got my 2 babies, I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I get to be. I get to be a dog mom, right? I can only imagine it's how like a lot of women are around babies. That's me with dogs. And we had just moved to a new part of the country, taking my dogs to a daycare, and I saw this sign for volunteers. And I was like, oh, this is going to be such a good way to, one, be around puppy dogs, because mine were old at that point. And also, like, I get to meet new people in the community and da-da-da-da. And I've been with them for 6.5 years now, doing all different things from adoption counseling, like being the person that actually says, yes, you get this dog, or no, you don't, to event, being a body at the event, getting peed on by the animals. Not the most fun part. To what I do right now for them is fundraising, is how do I use my brain, especially because now I'm 6 hours away from the headquarters. How do I make them more money? How do we help more dogs? And it's really just, I love animals, and dogs are pure goodness. So why wouldn't I work with them?
What's your favorite breed?
I love a
like
good
the big
mutt.
ones?
Yes. The big mutts. So German Shepherds, I think, are absolutely phenomenal. Huskies are crazy bastards, but they're a good time. And then any kind of like Labrador Retriever, Great Pyrenees. Give me a big dog that we can like wrestle and hike and run and do that kind of stuff, and I'm happy.
See, that we did quite agree on that part. I know that much.
Yep.
Yeah, my cousin runs a Great Pyrenees Rescue, and yeah, I like those dogs. They're so big.
I thought you were a cat guy.
Oh, for me, I don't have a dog. I had a dog when I was single, but we had cats. We have cats now.
Good trick, good trick. Get a dog to get a girlfriend. Works wonders, actually.
Well played.
It does. It does work. It does work.
Dude, I was a rocket engineer. I had no hope anyway.
See, that's why you need a dog. If you're rocketing, you need some goddamn assistance.
The dog used to look at me and go, dude, you're slowing down my game.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Let me off this leash. I'll do better without you.
Well, I'm glad we could have a good laugh in this episode, all of us. And then, what better way to show how to have fun in business to actually have fun? And this is just how networking conversations go for all of us. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you talk business, and then sometimes you just talk whatever. Kind of like we're done today, a little bit of both. You get much further that way, at least in my experience, than you want to do it. I don't know if you have some smart final things you want to leave our audience with, Chrissy.
When it feels, I don't know if it's smart, but I'll share it. When it feels like there's too much, and you're like, I gotta go head down and get it done, and I don't have time for fun, and that feels like a luxury, and I gotta do the thing. That's when you need it the most. Take a beat. And it doesn't mean go spend 3 hours, painting or whatever it is you're going to do. That's when those like micro moments of putting on one of your favorite songs, of going and being a menace to somebody in your house, doing something like whatever it is, when you think that it's a luxury, that's when it is an absolute necessity to do something. I'll leave it with that.
That's really good.
Beautiful. It's also going to feel much better to do it at that time, because it does feel like a luxury.
Yep.
And it's going to help you make more money in the long run. I bet you've gotten further because you joined the Rescue League in your business than if you haven't, because it just brought on things you never imagined.
Absolutely. You get further more easily because you're also not burnt out. You're not dreading it. You're actually enjoying this thing that you have intentionally created.
Yeah. And for the people that want to learn more about you, what you do, what's the best way to reach you?
So I have made things as easy as can be. Everything is branded to my name. So website, chrissymellinger.com. Email is a great one. I check my email multiple times a day, chrissy@chrissymellinger.com. Or connect with me on Instagram, Chrissy Mellinger, right? Super simple. I'm a big fan of voice notes. So if you send me a voice note, bonus points, expect to get a voice note back, but just find me, send me an email. I don't bite. We'll have a good time.
Not until she knows you, at least. Then you heard what happens.
Unless you're John.
Then she'll be a menace. The menace is behind you.
No Johns. All the Johns don't do it. The rest of you, you're good. You never know what's gonna happen.
At least they know, Mike, that I'm a menace. Like, I've been very clear with that one.
Yeah, it's up front. Yeah, it's not gonna be a surprise. But then, if it is, your own fault.
I often use the fair warning thing myself. We'll be at a meetup or something, and somebody will go, "Well, you're like, you knew what I was like before you came over here to talk to me." I just told you from the stage what I'm like.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much for coming on, Chrissy, and having a good laugh with us. I truly appreciate it.
Yes, it was a lot of fun.
Thank you both so much for having me. You are two of my favorite guys now, so I appreciate your time today.